Welcome! Today, we're going to forge the key that unlocks some really powerful storytelling in Spanish. And we're going to do that by mastering one specific past tense, the preterite. I mean, really think about that for a second. When you're telling a story about something that happened yesterday or last week or even 10 years ago, how do you make it crystal clear that the action is finished, that it had a definite beginning and a definite end? Well, in Spanish, the answer is the preterite tense. It's the perfect tool for taking a snapshot of a completed past action. It's not about what was happening, it's about what happened. It's a done deal, finished. Okay, so let's dive right into this. To use this key, we first have to build it, right? We're going to start with the blueprint, the plan for regular, predictable verbs. And once you see the pattern, trust me, it's going to become second nature. It's really just a simple three-step process. You take a verb, let's say hablar. You find its stem by just dropping that ending, so you're left with habl, and then you just attach the correct preterite ending depending on who did the action. Simple as that. And here they are. These are the endings we're talking about. You'll notice there are two main sets. You've got one for verbs ending in R, which you can see uses a lot of A sounds. And then there's a second set that works for both ER and IR verbs, and that one relies really heavily on I and IE sounds. This is the core pattern you want to lock in. Now, what's really interesting here is seeing that blueprint in action. Just look at the yo form. For hablar, you take hab and you add e to get hable. For comer, it's com plus e for comí. It's this, beautifully consistent system. Just follow the columns down, and you can see how that pattern just clicks right into place for every single pronoun. And get this, here's a fantastic little shortcut the language gives you. For we in R and IR verbs, the preterite form is actually identical to the present tense. So hablamos can mean we speak or we spoke, and vivimos can be we live or we lived. Context is absolutely everything here. So you've built the key. You get the conjugations, but what good is a key if you don't know which lock it opens, right? Let's move on and see exactly when you're going to use the preterite. Okay, so the preterite is just perfect for telling a story with a clear sequence of events. I want you to think of it like a series of snapshots, one right after the other. She got up, boom, completed action. She dressed, boom, next completed action. She left, boom, final completed action. It's the tense you use to tell a story. And this is probably the most common way you'll see it used, for a single, self-contained event. Ella caminó por el parque. She walked through the park. The action is totally finished. It's just a simple, clear snapshot of the past. But what about repeated actions? Well, the preterite still works if the entire series of those actions is complete. Ayer escribí 3 cartas. I wrote 3 letters. The task of writing all 3 of them is done. So the key thing to remember isn't the repetition itself, but the fact that the entire set of repetitions is over. And, the very same logic applies to duration. How long something lasted. If you define the time frame and that time frame is over, you use the preterite. We lived there for 4 years. That period of 4 years has a clear start and a clear end, both in the past. It's basically a completed chapter. And this is a brilliant example of how the start or the end of something is in itself a single completed event. The beginning of the snowing was a specific moment in time. That moment happened and it's over. So you use the preterite for it began or it ended. Now, every system has its exceptions, right? But I don't want you to think of these as annoying rule breakers. Instead, think of them as master keys. These 4 verbs are so incredibly common and so powerful that they just get their own special forms. So these are ser, ir, dar, and hacer, to be, to go, to give, and to do or make. They don't follow the regular ending patterns at all, so you really just have to memorize them, but trust me, you are going to use them so often, it'll become totally automatic. So take a really close look at that chart. Does anything jump out at you? Anything that looks, identical? That's right. And no, that is not a typo. The verbs ser, to be, and ir, to go, have the exact same conjugations in the preterite. So fui can mean I was or I went, and fue can mean he was or he went. It's this fantastic 2-for-1 deal. You memorize one set of endings, and you've just mastered 2 of the most crucial verbs in Spanish. The context will always make the meaning clear. So there you have it. You've got the blueprint for regular verbs. You know the specific times to use the preterite, And you have the master keys for the most common irregular verbs. You now have all the tools you need to talk about completed events in the past. All right, let's lock in those key takeaways. First, think of the preterite as your snapshot camera for the past. It's for completed actions. Remember those predictable patterns for regular verbs? Know that it's for finished actions and sequences. And definitely commit those 4 master keys, ser, ir, dar, and hacer, to memory. This is your foundation for telling clear, powerful stories in Spanish. But that leaves us with one final question. Taking a snapshot is great for single moments. But what if you want to describe the scenery or the ongoing background action? What if you want to film the whole movie, not just take a single picture? Well, for that, you're going to need another key entirely.